Yo, what's good, YouTube? ZAMCRO here, aka Scoot, back with the March Madness once again. Token Minorities March Madness 2019, and we have our bracket play finally. So we went through the pools, we drafted, we battled, we made it to the bracket round, and here we are with the first of the tournament. So we got the round of 64, I believe. So there's 64 players left, and we're one of them. So, as you can see on screen, my opponent has some scary mons: Milotic, Sneasel, Infernape, Scizor, Mew, and the Superior. We have same squad we've been rocking, and for this matchup, we're bringing the Landers, Therian, Alakazam, Infernape, Scizor, Rotom Wash, Decidueye, where we've left Oricorio and Slaking on the bench once again. So, as you see on screen, my opponent has Infernape and Scizor as well. And what's really super cool and interesting about it is my Infernape's straight across from his Infernape, and his Scizor is straight across from my Scizor. That's so cool. I didn't notice that during the battle, but that is so cool. So looking at it, he has two potential Stealth Rockers, one being Infernape and the other being Mew. He has three means of removal in his Scizor, Mew, and Superior, all packing Defog potentially. We've decided to bring a Choice Scarf Landers Therian for this match. We've rocked a lot of Z-move users and a little bit of defensive variants so far. Decided to bring the Choice Scarf out with an Adamant Nature and 104 attack EVs. We set at the position to where we can comfortably 2-hit KO and OHKO all of his squad, which is fantastic. We can, with Earthquake, after Stealth Rock, Sneasel, and Infernape drop. For SERP, it's a little bit different. I have to U-turn out on that always until it's around 30% or so, and then I can knock it out with Earthquake. We have Knockoff to get rid of Milotic. Looks like the switch in two Landers, and with like a Flame Orb or something like that, and the competitive or the Marvel Scale, it can actually check an SD Landers with Ice Beam. So I definitely wanted to bring Knockoff for that, get rid of its ability to burn itself, and then I can start to whittle it down later on in the match with U-turn and Earthquake and so on and so forth. Last but not least, our fourth move slot on the Landers is the Punishment. My opponent had the option to bring a Calm Mind Mew or Swords Dance Mew or Double Dance Mew, all kinds of different Mew sets, and I decided that if he was like a Calm Mind variant, and he got up multiple Calm Minds, then Punishment would be my best way to revenge kill it. Punishment is a dark type move that does damage based off your opponent's stat changes. So the more stat changes you have, the more damage Punishment does. And Calm Mind is a 2 stat change move. So if he clicks Calm Mind once, then Punishment's base power is doubled. If he does it, twice, then the base power is, quadruple. It's really nice tech there. We have max HP and 60 defense EVs. Allows us to take on Infernape pretty well. Allows us to avoid a 2-hit KO from a Choice Banded Scizor if he's got Bullet Punch. Allows us to take a Leaf Storm after Stealth Rocks, which is really nice. And that's just about it for Landers. Next up is Mega Alakazam, where we have a Modest Nature once again, able to just speed creep the Sneasel by a couple points. And we have max HP with a little bit of defense investment and 136 EVs in special attack. Allows us to net some serious, I guess, important and crucial knockouts with Sidekick and Shadow Ball versus his entire squad. I bypassed on Focus Blast or Dazzling Gleam or Hidden Power Fighting for the Sneasel. I felt like the rest of my team, the way it's built, the way it's structured, really pressures the Sneasel, and I didn't need coverage for it. So I decided to bypass on coverage for it and instead opted to bring Taunt and Recover. Once again, I can taunt Milotic from recovering up, I can taunt Scizor from setting up, or Mew from setting up in the late game and trying to use me as fodder and then winning. I can always recover up as well, predicting his switches, and then Sidekick and Shadow Ball were pretty much necessary. Shadow Ball actually does enough to Sneasel, so if he comes in on rocks twice, he's always like 2 or 3 hit KO'd by Shadow Ball anyway. And if he's not Scarf or anything like that, then I'll be able to outpace him anyway and see what he wants to do from there. Infernape, we have a defensive Infernape with Rocky Helmet, enough speed to outpace, I believe, the Mew, and we've got mixed defense with a little bit of special attack investment so that we can always net a knockout with flamethrower versus things like Sneasel and the Scizor. We've got Stealth Rocks on this bad boy as well. I'm opting to not bring it on the Landorus this time around with Toxic and Slack Off. So the Toxic is there for the Mew, for the Milotic as well, and Slack Off is to get my HP back, obviously. Not too much to say about that. We avoid knockouts from Sneasel and Scizor pretty much 100% of the time unless we're basically already dead. So for Scizor, we have an Ockerberry variant with an Impish Nature, max HP, with nearly max defense as well. Takes on the Sneasel, takes on the Scizor pretty comfortably, takes on the Superior as well with max HP and 36 EVs and special defense with an Ockerberry. We take a Leaf Storm into Hidden Power Fire pretty, not comfortably, but we take it and can dish out some serious damage with U-Turn. U-Turn into Bullet Punch will actually always knock out Superior unless he's like Tangaberry. And then we have Swords Dance and Roost on there as well. So if something like his Scizor or his Mew or his Serp that can't touch us, doesn't have fire coverage or something like that, we can Swords Dance up on that, Roost up on that, put us in a position to where we can actually Swords Dance up enough to blow back even the Milotic and the Infernape. Next up we have Rotom Wash, which is a Rendo Berry variant for the Superior. We can catch it with the Thunder Wave potentially. The idea though is that we are max HP, max defense, switch into Sneasel, switch into Milotic, switch into Infernape, switch into Scizor, and Volt switch out, Hydro Pump, click Thunder Wave, Pain Split Up, all kinds of that good stuff, and get momentum for the rest of my mons. Last but not least, we have Decidueye, which is a very, very bulky variant with a little bit of speed investment as well. With Leftovers. So Leftovers is to bluff that we're a little bit defensive, and we have enough speed to outpace an Adamant max speed Scizor and max HP. So the idea with this is to lure in his Scizor or his... Alright, so first of all, Infernape and Scizor and Rotom Wash deal really, really well with Sneasel. So his next line of defense versus my Mega Alakazam would be his Scizor and Mew. And my team actually beats down Mew as well. And then this Decidueye lures in the Scizor really, really well. I have Nasty Plot, Energy Ball, and Hidden Power Fire. Energy Ball blows back things like Sneasel and Milotic, and the Mew even. And Hidden Power Fire blows back Scizor and the Superior. Obviously, my moves bounce off of the Infernape. And if he's very bulky on the Mew or he's Calm Mind, he will beat us 1v1 as well. And our last move is going to be Roost. So basically just a lure set to blow back something like the Scizor, open up holes for Mega Alakazam. It can also blow back the Superior as well, and once that's gone, he doesn't have a ground resist or an immunity, so it actually opens up holes for Landorus too. So that's the idea behind the squad, and looking, he brings 2 out of... I'm not sure how many other Stealth Rockers he had on the squad. I don't remember what's on his bench at the time being. I don't even know if he has 7 or 8 mons. 1 or 2 on the bench, but his 2 potential Stealth Rockers being Infernape and Mew, he may or may not lead with either of them, so I'm actually going to lead off with my Landorus. I don't expect him to lead off with Sneasel, and if he did, then I could just hard switch out anyway. Pursuit wouldn't do much, especially after Intimidate. So he leads off with his Milotic, and I don't want to reveal U-Turn yet, so I'm going to hard switch out into my Decidueye and see what my opponent wants to do. And my opponent, I don't know if he read that I wasn't going to switch out there, or if he switched into Scizor predicting my knockoff. I'm not real sure what happened there, but what I'm going to do is I can hard switch out into my Infernape here, see what my opponent wants to do, as he is actually Mega Scizor and goes for the knockoff. Just Megas up there, and knocks off our Rocky Helmet. Takes a little bit of recoil there, and here I thought about clicking Toxic, but it was just too risky for me if he stayed in. And I'm able to get my rocks up though, but he gets the Marvel Scale burn, so that's a little bit unfortunate. But I'm going to hard switch in my Decidueye here, and I'm going to click Nasty Plot, seeing what my opponent wants to do. Now I can click Roost or Energy Ball. I'm going to click Roost here on the first turn, as he actually reveals Haze. So that's a little bit unfortunate for me. I'm going to have to Nasty Plot up once again. See what my opponent wants to do here, as he goes into his Serp. And at this range, I can't knock him out with Hidden Power Fire, but I could weaken him, which could be important. But as you can see, he packs the Mirror Coat, and it's Hidden Power Fire at +2 is not even a 2-hit KO. So I'm going to hard switch out into my Scizor here, as my opponent reads that and goes for the Hidden Power Fire immediately. That was a really, really cool play there. I'm just going to U-turn out as he actually brings back in his Scizor, his Mega Scizor. I can get back in my Infernape, and I could click Flamethrower, or I could just slack off. I'm going to click Flamethrower there. It knocks out, gets chip on everything else. Knocked out the Scizor and gets chipped on everything else, I should say. And I can bring in my Rotom Heart here as he recovers up. Now I'm going to click Volt Switch. My opponent may or may not have Mirror Coat on this as well, but I knew I could take a Scald into burn damage with my Decidueye, so I can just roost up on this bad boy. I have revealed to be faster than this guy, so I can just roost up until I get back to full. He can't freeze me thanks to the burn, and also thanks to the burn, I'm a special attacking Decidueye, so that's really neat for me. I don't have to worry about the burn negating my attack. So what I'm going to do here is Nasty Plot up as my opponent goes for the Ice Beam once again. And I may be able to get him right here. So I'm just going to click Energy Ball. And I do get him. So that's really nice for me. He can Revenge Kill me with Infernape. Though at this point, he could also Revenge Kill me with Sneasel. I'm going to Hard Switch out to Rotom as my opponent goes for the Fire Blast. And that kind of bounces. But he reveals the Z move and goes for the Bloom Doom. Which prompts our Rindo Berry. And he gets a critical hit and is able to knock us out. So that's really unfortunate for us. However, we're going to go out to Mega Alakazam. We trace the contrary boost, and we go for the Shadow Ball expecting the Mew. It would have knocked out the Infernape as well, I think, from that range. I actually don't remember what range he's at now that I said that. Anyways, he goes into his Mew here, and he tries to click Rock Polish, as I'm going to taunt him and click Shadow Ball, prompting his Weakness Policy, which puts him at a range to 2-hit KO me with Fire Blast, but luckily I'm still going to be able to outpace him, 2-hit KO him with Shadow Ball before he can 2-hit KO us. So now he brings in the Sneasel, and I thought about staying in there and clicking the Shadow Ball just to weaken it, but just in case I could save just in case I could save Alakazam, it was best case scenario to go ahead and switch on out. I bring in Scizor here to Revenge Kill him, but he goes in hard into his own Scizor, and clicks Knockoff instead of Roosting up here, which gives me the ability to click Flamethrower here, as he actually stays in and roosts on my Toxic. So that was a big boy play. I am going to go for Flamethrower here though, and he won't be able to switch in on Flamethrower much more with Infernape. He's got 2 more switch ins on Flamethrower at this point. What I'm going to do though is go into my Landers and click Earthquake here. See how much damage it will do to his incoming Scizor, and it does 33%, so he's out of range of 2-hit KO, which is really nice for him. Really, really bad for me though, as he just U-turns out too, predicting my Infernape switch in. So I'm going to have to hard switch into my Landers once again as he goes for the Fire Blast, and it does over half there. Not quite in Blaze range yet, but now everything is in range of Earthquake. So I'm just going to click that. Down goes the Scizor. He brings in a Sneasel, so I don't want to be Ice Sharded. I'm going to hard switch out into Infernape as he goes for the Icicle Crash. Really nice play there by him. I can sack off Scizor here, or I can just click Flamethrower. Flamethrower was best case scenario because it put me in a position to where if he stayed in with Sneasel, then Choice Scarf Landers swept, and if he stayed in, or if he switched out to his Infernape, then it would drop and Sneasel would have to come back in anyway, and then I could win the game with Scizor in the late game with Bullet Punch here, and that's going to be game. So we're going to be able to pick up a nice 2-0 victory over Spies here in our first of what could be mini, or could have been our last match in March Madness for 2019. But we are going to pick up a victory here, and we're going to be moving on to the round of 32. So that was a really fun game there. The Superior's Mirror Coat was really nice to see. The Rock Polish Weakness Policy Mew was really cool to see, even though it didn't pay off for him thanks to my Mega Alakazam set. We didn't get to see Punishment Landers either, and I guess Decidueye did put in some work though with its what's it called? A Nasty Plot and the Energy Ball. It's pretty cool to see. You don't see special Decidueye much, but I knew it could kind of lure in his Mega Scizor and open up holes for my Alakazam. It didn't happen that way, but it's the thought that counts, I guess. But yeah, that's going to be it. So let me know what you guys thought about the prep and the plays on both sides of the field. Good game to Spies. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe, all the good stuff, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.